Camera, sign language. Janesville Performing Arts Center is hosting its first ever deaf-led play.
So this version of Peter and the Starcatcher will feature a pretty unique experience for everybody. NBC 15's Cameron Kelly has more on the inner workings of this play.
Behind these doors is a special experience for Janesville Performing Arts Center. This month's play will star 6 castmates hard of hearing or deaf and the other half hearing. Peter and the Starcatcher will be told through American Sign Language, visuals, and symbols. The director of the play says his team worked together to find interpreters and actors.
Doing this is not just, oh, so deaf people can enjoy it. It's for everyone to enjoy. And I think it's allowing people to learn about deaf culture and a deaf perspective.
One of the leads, May, who is deaf, feels thankful to be able to show her talent and love of acting with the community.
I really want the audience to see the deaf world and the hearing world coming together, and for them to see these perspectives on life differently.
Shelton Tripp believes this play will mean something different for everyone.
It's been, sometimes slow work, but really gratifying work, if you will.
Hearing castmates say they learn to be better performers through ASL.
You have to actually convey the question with your eyes and your face, and that piece of ASL, I think, lends itself really nicely to telling stories on stage.
Before the cast takes a final bow, they will put on a performance for audience members who are blind.
Allowing people who have low vision to come and touch the set and experience it, because we get so much information from how we see things.
Oh, Cameron, thank you so much. Theater making it accessible to everyone. I love to see it. Performances for this play are October 19th and the 22nd. The last 2 showings will offer sensory-friendly strategies and audio-described technology.